Hello, I'm Paul Peterson. The baby boom generation, usually defined as those born between 1946 and 1964, is the largest generation in American history. This generation came of age during the cultural shifts and political turmoil of the 1960s and 70s. Among the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender population, baby boomers represent the first generation to have experienced the so-called LGBT visibility that came with the advent of the contemporary gay rights movement. As they age into retirement, they will undoubtedly bring with them expectations very different from those of previous generations of LGBT elders. We'll discuss that today. Stay tuned for Aging in LA. The baby boom generation has lived through a period of tremendous cultural change, including significant shifts in social attitudes towards lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender issues, also known as LGBT. Now, they have to plan for retirement and for their eventual long-term care and end-of-life needs. LGBT baby boomers share in the hopes and experiences that characterize others of their generation. At the same time, however, they reflect certain family structures and gender role differences, and they confront distinct concerns about caregiving, social support networks, retirement, and other issues faced by senior citizens. While many aspects of aging appear to be universal, research on gay and lesbian aging has demonstrated several specific positive and negative effects of aging as a gay man or lesbian. Joining us today to discuss this very important issue is Mitchell El-Mahdi, a member of the entertainment industry who has been an on-set medic on films and television programs, a commercial actor, fashion model, as well as a caregiver. Welcome to the show, Mitchell. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting
Interest of
me.
disclosure, this is among my best friends in the world. Mitchell, you're now retired. Is it what you expected?
No. No.
How so?
I find that you plan out what you think your retirement's going to be, and you're all set to go, and then everything changes. All of a sudden you have more time on your hands. The money's not what you think it's going to be.
Right.
The cost of living goes up, but your retirement or your Social Security doesn't follow suit.
Yeah.
So that's what I've noticed to be the major problem.
But what you've done with your life is you re-engaged in a new community, got involved with the political process, so it's not as though you quit.
No, but I didn't retire. I didn't retire. I thought that I was going to just lay back and enjoy where I live, and I do enjoy where I live, but now I found that the community really needs a lot of volunteers. They need to change their aspect of, I should say, aging. There are a lot of older people in the community. The services are not there for them.
Right.
And so that's why I think I moved to that area, is to try to help bring some of the change about.
Well, it's our loss here in Los Angeles, but a great gain for them. Are there any distinct issues that you've discovered as a retired adult gay man? Is there something different support structure-wise?
I wish I could say, yes, there was a difference, but there isn't a difference, because I've never lived my life as a gay man.
Yes.
And so I've lived my life as Mitchell El-Mahdi. Being gay just happens to be part of who Mitchell is.
Yes.
So my friends have all been a mixture, you know, gays, and I'm using gay in the broad term,
right,
including lesbians, transgender. So I've had friends through all of that realm, and I've had a lot of heterosexual friends. So I can't say I just isolated myself to the gay community.
Well, and that's a good thing, because Well, first of all, I am so grateful that the years have passed and we as a society have matured, because this is not a discussion we could have had 30 years ago. I mean, we would have had it over a dinner table, but now we can actually say to people, you are not alone. These issues of being gay, and we've all gone to way too many funerals with the HIV and AIDS epidemic, we have to start sharing some important lessons, and it's unique in the gay community that so often they're absent family support. Either they've had broken relationships and never repaired them, or they have no children of their own. Do you see that as well in the community?
That's true. The sad part, as you age, you hope that you would have a support system. Usually the heterosexual community, you have children and grandchildren, and so you still have that support. Within the gay community, if you're still talking with your family, you may have some familial support.
Right.
But usually what happens is that there is a divide. You only go to your family maybe at Christmas or some holiday, and then you leave, and there's no interfacing that much with your family.
Yeah.
So as we age, we end up, with the gay community, you end up staying within your own framework. And so we all get old at the same time,
Right.
and that's who we stay with. We don't really involve ourselves with the younger group because there isn't one younger with us.
Well, the younger group are so stupid.
Well, that's true, but if you're young, you don't want anything to do with the old folks.
Isn't that strange?
And that's what happens. And also in the gay society, it's a youth-orientated
that
culture.
emphasis on youth. But in a way, I was so lucky to be raised in Hollywood because I got to see long-term committed relationships with gay men who were part of the creative community and very active and made enormous contributions. But there was a sort of melancholy as they grew older because, especially if you lost your partner, you were alone. And that's sad.
Well, you're alone because you may be 40 years old, and in the culture, 40 is you're getting up there in age.
Yeah, well,
and so you really you can't find your niche. So it's very frustrating, and it can be very lonely. There are a lot of very lonely gay and lesbians, and that's another. Gay men and lesbians usually do not interface that much.
I know, because it is two distinct cultures.
Two different, right.
Yeah.
And I don't think the general population understands that. I mean, we have a subculture here. And transgender people usually don't hang with the gay and lesbians, and it's just so, it's really a mismatch.
But you have straddled so many different parts of this culture. Los Angeles houses a large artistic community. And artistic communities, because of creativity issues and sensitivity, have been welcoming for gay men and lesbians, transgenders, because they're so accepting. And yet, even with this pocket of people who are quote-unquote different, there still are discrimination issues. I see it in senior care. I see it where people, young service providers, don't understand. And that's got to be troubling as well because there is an additional burden on the health delivery system.
Well, first of all, a lot of caregivers are still afraid of, quote-unquote, the HIV issue. And also, too, with the advent of all the protease inhibitors and all the medication and the advance in the medical care, we have a lot of older people who retired who are HIV positive and who are healthy.
Yes.
And if you are not healthy and you need medication, thank goodness for the AIDS organizations that are available for the aging, for the seniors.
Well, we got to make a new community. And in that regard, the Los Angeles Gay and Lesbian Center, located in Hollywood, recently began a program that offers a broad array of services, including legal, cultural, social, and educational programs for seniors. We recently visited the center and talked with the newly appointed manager of the senior program, Julie Kliska. You're going to really like her. Our first question was, what sort of activities do you offer seniors?
We have a monthly dinner. We get about 70 seniors who come out to a different restaurant, socialize, get a good deal on dinner. We go to theater, we go to museums, we go to gardens, different field trips. Support groups. We have a men's support group, a women's support group, and a caregiver support group specifically for LGBT seniors, which is great. Social and recreational activities are very therapeutic, serve a large need.
Yes.
But I'm finding more and more that we're also moving into social services, working with issues such as housing and transportation, insurance issues. So from our perspective, we're trying to network and establish relationships with other organizations and agencies out there in the community that we know are LGBT friendly and we can feel good about referring our seniors.
It's so critically important because that sense of isolation is tough enough for seniors. Yeah. Oh, nobody's there to help me, nobody understands. But boy, the lesbian and gay community, it can be truly isolated because many times they've been abandoned by their families.
Absolutely. That's sort of the irony of working with LGBT seniors is that they oftentimes don't have the family support system that so many of their straight counterparts have.
Sure.
They don't have the children and grandchildren to take them to their doctor's appointments or help them sort out their bills. So our seniors are that much more reliant on outside organizations and agencies, and yet there's a real fear of being discriminated against because so many have faced a lifetime of discrimination.
Exactly, because the discrimination is real. You know, everybody is forever pointing that other finger, not understanding that we have way more in common than we have differences.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, what I see are the same issues that all seniors face. It's just being an LGBT senior offers unique and additional challenges, just like any minority group.
But these issues for seniors are common to all of us. You know, what do we do with aging parents? For example, do you have people to talk with, say, the sons and daughters or the relations of an elderly gay couple? Do you have, can they walk in and say, boy, I need some help?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have counselors here as well as we have a whole mental health department here at the center that we refer to oftentimes. But I have found that the seniors in our program, the majority of them are single. They are living alone. They're much more likely to be alone than their straight counterparts. So in addition to that, many of them live in the outskirts. They can't afford to live right here.
Right.
So, and if they're not driving anymore, if they don't feel comfortable taking public transportation, they have all these outside circumstances working against them just to even be able to get here to socialize and talk to somebody and get some help. I don't really know of too many other organizations in LA that specifically target LGBT seniors. We have incredible opportunity here to step up to the plate, and there is an incredible need. I can tell you just from the phone calls I get every day on seniors out there who don't know where else to turn because they're afraid of being discriminated against, and they have all sorts of needs. So I really see the need growing as well as our program to meet those needs. And there's financial disadvantages, obviously, not being able to get married,
Clearly.
tax laws, real estate. There's a lot of disadvantages. Seniors oftentimes are low income and fixed income to begin with, but then you add the additional financial disadvantages. And I think it's new. I don't think oftentimes people are kind of surprised when I say I work with LGBT seniors because I think, well, what makes them so different? And again, a lot of the issues are the same as far as loneliness, depression, health issues, isolation. But because LGBT seniors are oftentimes in the closet, not being able to be true to themselves, not having the same type of support network that's so essential for your quality of life. I think we're just now starting to raise consciousness, and I think a large part of it is just awareness, letting people out there and the service providers know, hey, that question on the assessment, on the intake form of whether or not you're married, somebody could be with their partner for 60 years and they still have to check single. It's a hard transition to go from working, being productive, being out in the world, driving yourself, taking care of yourself, to make that transition to being dependent on other people, to being stranded in your own home. It's very difficult, and I don't think anybody should have to go through that alone.
Well, good on you for being at the forefront of what is new. And sometimes exciting and sometimes a little scary because the numbers we're going to have to cope with are huge.
Absolutely. But I mean, I think the sooner we can prepare and get ourselves ready, the better off everybody will be.
You're sure right. Julie, thank you so much. It was a
pleasure.
great visit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Boy, she is a wonder. I really enjoyed talking to her. Now, did she kind of accurately reflect your experience so far, Mitchell?
Absolutely. She was talking about the isolationism, and that is so true. I've seen when you walk down, especially in Santa Monica sometimes, Santa Monica Boulevard,
Right.
you'll see the older population who's just walking. They're usually walking by themselves.
Yes.
They're eating by themselves. They appear extremely lonely. And within the gay culture, if you're older than 40, 45, 20, you know, it's very difficult to engage persons in conversation.
Sure.
If you're out to have lunch and you're by yourself and there's some tables that have a few people around, you want to talk to them, they really don't want to talk to you unless you are, you know, looking like the latest fashion model or something. You know, but so yes, it is very lonely for the aging
Well,
gay
and
population.
you know, this Gay and Lesbian Center there in Hollywood, it's a remarkable resource. And I asked
great.
Julie, well, I'm thinking that it was just going to be a few people. How many people are involved? 700 people have signed up already. Now, Mitchell, it's time for a short break. And when we return, we will continue our discussion about the concerns of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people who are part of the baby boomer generation. Now, please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, buddy, what's shaking? We're not prepared for an earthquake. I love the rain. We're not prepared for a flood.
Sure, in the movies, this is all pretend, but in real life, you gotta be prepared for any type of an emergency. You can't predict, but you can prepare.
Yeah.
How'd you know? The ball called.
Be prepared at LAFD.org.
The Department of Public Works Bureau of Contract Administration keeps the city's projects on track, ensuring safety first and fairness always, from the streets all the way to the stars.
Welcome back to Aging in LA. Today we are discussing the specific needs and concerns of those members of the rapidly aging baby boomer generation who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. Our guest is Mitchell El Mahadi, an on-set medic in the entertainment industry, a caregiver to this ever-growing segment of the aging population. Mitchell, again, thank you for being here. I just got to throw a number out. Baby boomers. It's almost 80 million people in this little pocket, this 18-year pocket from 1946 to 64. Now, you're a medical professional. Are we still dealing with denial and secrets and hiding in the closet when it comes to the issues specific to the LGBT population?
Oh, absolutely. It's still there. Right now I volunteer, well, not really volunteer, but I do work in a clinic where I'm living at the present time. And we have a lot of elderly people. And we have one interesting transgender person coming in to the clinic. And it's very interesting when they arrive to look at the faces or hear little comments made by the medical staff.
Oh.
And
Who
so,
should know better?
should know better, but again, you know, you can still be a medical person and you're still going to have your prejudices.
Yes,
You're not going to take that away. But you still have to treat everyone as an individual and not lump everyone together. And they're there for a medical person reason and not for who they are.
Well, sometimes the worst patients, though, are medical people themselves.
That's true.
You know,
That's
it's
true.
When Rana, my wife, I think, well, you, of course, knows Mitchell worked with Rana. Rana is a registered nurse who has also been in the entertainment industry for more than 30 years. And a surprising number of people will not disclose their medical conditions for fear of employment discrimination.
That's still going on. It's the same even now in the industry. Anywhere you don't want, if you're HIV positive, you do not want that on the record. Now HIPAA, of course, was, HIPAA is a good thing to have, and also has its downside.
Well, it's the threat to medical professionals in the
Absolutely,
sure.
but you can. The thing about HIPAA is that you cannot disclose someone's diagnosis.
Right. Then.
And so it shouldn't be an issue putting down anything on the medical form, because only medical people are going to see that. And of course, if they do disclose what's on the form, they get in a lot of trouble, get fined, and lose their license and whatever. But a lot of people don't trust that, so they still want to hide their problem.
Well, I wonder though if the information channels within the gay community, or at least that I've seen, seem to be pretty open these days. I mean, people are getting educated about the new antiviral therapies, and they understand that you can live healthily, even if you're HIV positive.
The problem with that is that a lot of people, heterosexual as well as gays, think that once you're HIV positive and you take the medications, that you're fine, that it's going to be cured. And it's not going to be cured. You're always going to have HIV. And then as the long-term survivors find they end up having more medical problems, end up having heart problems, more kidney problems, which a lot of times does not affect the heterosexual community. And so that also is an issue. And a lot of times they're confused because they don't know where they're supposed to go, what they're supposed to do, why they're having these problems. And they're told that, well, it's the medication. The medication, you've been on medication for 20 years, so now the medication is causing these problems.
Right.
So do you get off the medication and hope for the best, or do you stay on it and then try to work out the other medical issues?
And there's one other issue, and you and I have discussed this privately. How do we best transmit the lessons of our lives to the younger generation? You and I both know that young gays are engaging in risky behaviors. Once again, it's like every 5 years we've got to do this education campaign.
Because their understanding of the HIV medication, I feel, is misinterpreted. They feel, and a lot of times, they want to become HIV positive because it's easier. You don't have to worry about every time you have a sexual encounter whether or not I'm going to become positive. So I'm going to go out, become positive, get that over with. I'll start my medications, and everything's going to be fine.
Oh, boy.
That's their attitudes, and unfortunately, that's the wrong attitude.
It's the wrong attitude, exactly. In the first half of the program, we talked with Julie Kliska, Director of Senior Services at the LA Gay and Lesbian Center in Hollywood. We also talked with one of the recipients of these services and asked about the programs that were being offered.
Help from this center by just having the programs they have, because as you get older, I guess we don't generate the kind of income we did when we were young, and I'm on a very limited income. I depend on what goes on here and what Julie, her programs that,
Well, like what kind of programs that can keep you alert and interested?
We have the meeting, Coalition of Older Lesbians, and sometimes we have speakers come in. We have different things that happen there, and then once a month we also have the social, where we eat and socialize amongst ourselves.
Right.
And then Julie gets us trips to the next week we're going to that museum and things like that. So this is how I use this place, because I have not had to use anything else, but I know there's health resources and legal advice and all that. I have not had to use that yet.
It was very interesting in talking to this woman how her housing issue, she was finally accepted into the Gay and Lesbian Center's new housing unit, and I understand you were familiar with that as well.
Yes, I think it was approximately 2 years before the units were constructed you could apply. And it was on all the, we say gay rags, all the little gay
The gay
newspapers,
rags,
that this was going to happen, and you had applied, and they would send you the application. So I had already moved when I got the application, and I didn't fill out the application because I did not fit within the economic range.
Yeah.
And I really made too much of my retirement. And when I saw the amount of money that you had to make to live in the facility, then I was thinking, I don't know how these people are going to make it.
Well, that to me is really the intimidating issue, you know, with the 5 senior ladies in our family. You know, these issues are expensive. Everything from, you know, multi-$1,000s for Alzheimer's care and assisted living, and it's staggering what it costs.
It does cost, and also too, like this woman that was interviewed, you know, and she was saying that she's living by herself and she doesn't have anyone. See, people think that because you're gay and you don't have a family that you have all this money.
Yeah, well.
Well, unfortunately, that isn't true.
No.
When you're younger, you don't save because you want out partying and
That's
really
right.
having a great time. But, and since you don't have a family to fall back on, you really have to start saving your pennies, but we don't think about that, you know, when we're younger. So when you, for instance, with the medication, like the cost of medication is so expensive. Food has gotten so expensive.
Sure.
Transportation has gotten
another
expensive.
issue.
And so, again, like, she has no one to fall back on.
But, you know, it's up to us, you particularly, Mitchell, to help create this new system. And I'm sorry to say it's all the time we have for today's program. Thanks to our guest, Mitchell El-Mahadi, an on-set medic in the entertainment industry and a caregiver. Thank you, Mitchell, so much for being here. It's appreciated.
Really great.
The Los Angeles Department of Aging produces this program with CityView Channel 35 so that seniors living in Los Angeles and surrounding communities are well informed on the many issues that face them in everyday life, and also to let you know of the many services that the Department of Aging offers our senior citizens. Now, we'd like to hear from you with comments on the program, what you like, what you think can be improved, and ideas for future programs. Please give us a call. The number's right there on your screen, area code 213-252-4088. That's 213-252-4088. Call us with your comments and ideas. We look forward to hearing from you. I'm Paul Peterson for the Los Angeles Department of Aging, the people here at CityView Channel 35, and all of our guests on Aging in LA. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.